Today, we're talking about email marketing. Okay. If you're not sending out emails on a consistent basis, you're not sending out email campaigns, you are leaving hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on the table. Yeah, I'm from Vancouver. Over the course of the past couple of years, helped home service business owners just like you guys add over $10 million in revenue. And that's what I'm going to be sharing here today. I started this business previously coming from the home service industry, working in landscaping since high school. And I wanted to start this so that I can not only work with home service businesses, but give them the tools in sessions just like this today to be able to grow their business on their own and learn the why behind marketing. So let's get right into it. My goal today is really two things. First, to prove to you that making money with email marketing is not only possible, but it's easier to do now than ever in 2025. And secondly, I want to have each of you today walk away with an email campaign ready to send out today or whenever, or the formula for how to grow your email list if you have less than 100 customers. And I'm going to be straight up with you guys today. It's not going to be flashy. It's not going to be sexy. It's not going to be pretty, but it's going to be what you need to hear and what you need to grow your email list and book jobs with email campaigns. So getting into the tactics behind it, what I'm actually going to be showing you is, first of all, why email marketing works. I know before I got into email marketing, I was a big email doubter. Okay, I didn't think it worked. I thought it was outdated. I'm going to show you how my perspective on email marketing got changed so that hopefully it can help you guys too. Secondly, why email marketing sometimes doesn't work. So if you're running email campaigns right now and it's not working, there's going to be a few things in here that you might relate to. Third, I'm going to show you how to write and send an email campaign. This is going to be using Jobber's tool, but the same frameworks and concepts apply for any sender tool. And finally, I'm going to show you how to grow your email list if you have less than 100 contacts in your email list, or you just want to grow your email list. So my email marketing story. What is my context with email marketing? Well, back in 2022, it was the first year that I started my business, like I mentioned, after coming out of landscaping and out of university. And I was absolutely dead. The business was stagnant. I had signed, I think, 2 or 3 clients that year. And in the beginning of 2023, I joined a business coaching program. And that coaching program told me to do email marketing, particularly cold email marketing. And I didn't think it was going to work. I was really hesitant, but I set it up anyways because I just paid all this money to join this course. If you guys have joined a course before, you probably know what I'm talking about. And I set it up. And within the first 3 weeks, I had signed 3 clients from email marketing. And over the next couple of months, my leads shot up to not just 1 or 2 every other month, it was 1 or 2 every single day. And so that email marketing was cold email marketing, where I was emailing people who didn't know about my business. I was emailing home service businesses that have never heard about me before. And I was sending out 500 to 700 emails every single day. And although that's not the type of email that we're talking about today, which we'll get into that in a bit, the exact same concepts and the exact same frameworks apply to what we're talking about today for you guys to book more jobs through email campaigns, because you're going to be sending it to your customer base and your past leads. So if anything, it's going to be much easier for you. And actually, if you look at the back there, there's an award on the wall. It looks like a record label. That is for selling over $100,000 in email in 2023. And it might seem like a small figure to some of you guys. However, that was literally going from zero to an extra $100,000 that year with a cold email system. So getting into kind of some of the examples from more relevant sources like our clients, this is Tristan, who we ran an email campaign with, and he made 10K in 1 week for his tree service business. That was an email campaign that went out to only 400 prospects, only 400 of his past clients. And hearing from some of you guys today how many emails you have, this is more than doable for a lot of you. And as you can see, the first 24 hours of that email campaign, he signed 5K worth of jobs. Another example here, Connor, he runs an HVAC business. I know a lot of you guys here in HVAC. Back in November, we ran an email campaign to, it says around there, 600 prospects, and he closed 50K worth of jobs from that email campaign. Chris, he sent an email campaign for the first time to 2,700 clients earlier last year for his chimney company, and he booked 11 jobs totaling $4,000. So winning with cold email is, again, not only possible, but it's easier to do now than ever. So why should you, in particular today, use email marketing? The answer is really simple. We're here today because we want to get more jobs booked so that we can make more money for our business, so that we can grow our business. Pretty straightforward. In business, there's really only two ways that you can make more money. You can A, get more customers, or B, make each customer worth more, increasing the lifetime value. And lifetime value, LTV, is simply how much money a customer pays you over the lifetime of them being a customer, which in home services has the potential to be forever, right? As long as they're a homeowner. And so, coming back to the example of my business back in early 2023 and, 2022, I was struggling because my customers would only pay me once and they wouldn't need me again for another couple of years. And so switching around the frame of changing up my offer, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, to be able to increase my lifetime value by offering different things and new things and upsells, was able to take my business to where it is today. And I noticed some questions in the chat. Definitely, again, stay around to the very end because we're going to be doing an in-depth Q&A. So if you got questions, make sure to put them in the chat or write them down on a notepad. We want to increase the amount of money that your clients are worth so that your business doesn't solely rely on getting new customers as your only source of revenue. If your clients, if you have a system set up with your business where your services are only needed once a year or once every couple of years, it's going to be hard to sign new clients because you kind of have these feast or famine months every month where you sign a couple clients and then for the next couple months, there's nothing. And we want to avoid that at all costs. And that's what email marketing has helped me do, helped our clients do, and is going to help you do today. Email marketing, again, is just one of the many ways that you can book more jobs with existing clients and win back old leads. There's a lot more, but the question is, how do you get each customer to book more jobs with you if they might only need service once or twice per year? Provide more value in the form of complementary services and choose the right set of customers to email. We're going to get more in depth in that in a bit because, again, this is an email campaign and email marketing seminar, but this definitely goes a lot into what you're offering to customers and even sales a little bit. So how do you make email campaigns work for you and not against you? And if it's not working, this section's for you. So there's three main types of email marketing. You've got cold email marketing, you've got warm email marketing, which is what we're talking about today, and then email newsletters. Each of these three types of email marketing, they all have the same goal ultimately of converting customers. It just depends on the time horizon. And the way that they're implemented looks a little bit different. So cold email, which is what I was talking about in my email marketing story, looks like introducing your offer for the first time to people who are interested, to get people interested who have never heard about you and in the door, right? So it's like a cold call where you've never talked to this person before. You're coming in completely cold, and you get a lot of backlash for that. We'll just say that. Email newsletters, it looks like giving people who may or may not have bought from you, they know about you, but they might not be a customer, value on a consistent basis so they eventually convert into a customer, right? An email newsletter, they could convert in a year or 2 years, they can convert in a month, but you never really know when. Warm email marketing, which is what we're talking about today, looks like emailing your past customers or lost leads a new offer or something they haven't purchased in a while. All right, it's what we're talking about today. In other words, we're trying to get our past customers or past leads to buy more stuff from us. And again, this can get difficult if your services are only offered once or twice per year or once every couple of years. And so we're going to get a little bit more into the offer and upsells later. So if you're doing cold email, or sorry, I keep saying cold email. If I say cold email throughout this, you guys are gonna yell at me in the chat or something. I'm talking about warm email. Most people fail at email marketing, warm email marketing, for a few reasons. One, they don't email enough, so it's too infrequent. Two, they email or ask too much, because whenever you're emailing an offer, a special deal, a promo to your customers, which is what we're talking about today, too frequently, like multiple times a month, they're going to get used to that. And in a lot of cases, they're going to get turned off at the idea of your emails. And so we want to reduce that as much as possible so we can maximize the amount of people that convert through your emails. Three, they don't have a big enough email list. So if you're doing email marketing and it's not working, one problem might be that your sample size is just too small. Four, they're offering the wrong thing to the wrong set of people. And five is an honorable mention. Their copy might just suck. You might have a great offer. You might be emailing the right people. You might have a huge email list and you might be doing it at the right time. But if the writing, the text in your email does not speak to your customers, you're going to have a much lower conversion rate on your email campaigns. So how do you fix these common problems that we typically see with email marketing, or how do you avoid them in the first place if this is your first time doing email marketing? Yeah, someone said fix bad copy with ChatGPT. That works too. So as you can see here, email once per quarter, at least. Pull back on the email offers. Once every month is fine. Grow your email list. Offer something your customers will actually want, and fix your copy. Today, we're talking about the last three. This is formatted a little bit weird, but it's 3, 4, and 5. So grow your email list. Offer something to your customers that they actually want. What kind of deal do you actually promote? How do you figure out what kind of deal you're going to promote on your email? And then fixing your copy. I'm going to show you our 5-step formula for writing email copy so that you can apply it to your email campaigns. The first two things, like emailing once per quarter, pulling back on your email offers like once every month, is more than enough. Once per quarter is like the sweet spot for an email campaign. Those two things are easy to fix. It's really just timing. You just change the timing around. But the last three is our focus today. So let's start with what to offer. We need to sell something to our clients that they would feel like they're missing out on if they said no to or didn't respond. The first step is knowing which customers to pick from. I'll say that again because this is so important. The first step is knowing which customers and choosing the right set of customers to pick from. Here's an example. Let's say that I go to the Apple store and I buy a MacBook. That's me right there. That's a real picture of me. And a week later, I get an email from Apple promoting deals on new MacBook Pros. I am probably not going to be receptive of that email. If anything, I'd be pretty upset that I didn't get that deal earlier on when I was deciding to buy a MacBook. I just bought a MacBook. Why do I need a new one, right? In that case, Apple did not choose the right set of customers to email. However, if I had bought that same MacBook and I got an email the next week offering me deals on dongles, accessories, headphones, I would be much more likely to be receptive of that email and purchase those products. Because, I mean, first of all, if you guys use MacBooks or Apple products, you know how many dongles are necessary to run these things. But secondly, I had just purchased a product which the new products they're offering me now are kind of supplemental, or they're upsells to that existing product. And so that works for me, and I'd be much more likely to buy those products than in the first example. So the same goes with your customers. Timing is everything when it comes to winning with email marketing. If you want to offer, for example, a completely new service to your customers, your entire email list might benefit from it at any given point in time, right? For example, if I'm an arborist and I want to start offering gutter cleaning, my entire customer base, only knows me as the arborist or the tree service company. And so I could email my entire set of customers that, hey, we're offering gutter cleaning now because none of them have got that from us in the past. If you're offering a discount on an existing service, you want to target people who haven't purchased that service in a while who might need it. And we're going to get into how to target those people with JobberLater. So now that you've seen the when and who of email marketing, right? When you should be emailing and who you should be emailing, here is the what of email marketing, what you're going to offer, or at least our framework for figuring out and deciding an offer for our clients that books jobs and fills your calendar. So typically when people think of email marketing, they think of these 10, 5, 15, 20% off little deals, something like this, copy and paste this code, get 50% off, shop now or purchase now, get a free quote now. I would get a lot of these emails, and I'm sure you guys get these emails all of the time. They are effective in some cases. However, what's even more effective is buy one, get one free offer. And this is something that we've tested with our clients, our own business, that consistently wins jobs, just like you saw earlier on in this the presentation. And so it's not buy one, get one free like you would typically think. It's not the classic, buy product A and get the second product A for free. It's buy product A and get product B for free. Here's how it works. Purchase a gutter cleaning and get a free leaf removal of your whole property. Gutter cleaning is product A, leaf removal is product B. Purchase a house cleaning and get a free car detailing. House cleaning, product A, car detailing, product B. Purchase a heat pump installation and get a free maintenance check on your plumbing and heating. Heat pump, product A, maintenance, product B. The more free stuff you can offer, the more people will take you up on that offer. It's simple. They feel like they're getting a better deal. Instead of getting these like 10, 15, even some cases 5% off discounts, which in today's economy, 5% is not really cutting it. They're gonna get something for completely free, which they feel like they're getting much more of a deal from that, and they're gonna be more receptive of it because of it. This works in your customer's favor because, right, instead of getting these small discounts, they get a 100% discount, right? So in their minds, they feel like they're getting more of a deal. This works in your favor because, one, you get more people interested and in the door. Two, you book more jobs and you make more money for your business. And three, your margins for your business, they only dip slightly because you're already at the property. All that front end work of loading up your team, loading up your truck if it's just yourself, driving over to the property, setting up, that's already done. You're already at the property. So you might only be spending an extra half an hour or an hour at that property to do the free thing. So just make sure, this is a big caveat with this, just make sure you're offering costs significantly less to fulfill than the paid thing. So the free thing that you're offering should be less of a cost to your business than the paid thing. For example, do not offer a free full house clean with a paid car detail. Other examples of offers that perform well, package bundle. So they get, instead of 2 things, they get 3, 4, 5 things for a larger discount. And this is typically when those like 20, 30% off discounts or deals work. And if you can, get that deal even lower. That's the package bundle. First service is free. So this typically works if you're emailing past leads who didn't close with you as a customer and you're offering the first service to them for completely free. I'll touch on that in a sec. Free service in exchange for something. So reviews, referrals, etc. You do the service for free in exchange for those reviews. For example, if you're trying to increase your SEO on your local business profile. Now, the first service is free and doing work for free. A lot of people get turned off at the idea of doing work for free. But here's the thing. This is why it works so well, is because you're not doing it for completely free, no strings attached. When it comes to business and your customers, you want to be building up goodwill with them. And goodwill is simply doing things above and beyond for your customers and giving them a good experience, right? Making sure that they're consistently happy and delivering above and beyond the expectations so that you're building up this goodwill. And in this case, doing work for free so that at some point you can cash out that goodwill. If it's in the form of asking for referrals, asking for reviews, right? Asking for shout outs, that sort of thing is extracting goodwill from your customers. And the only way that works is by building up the goodwill. And this is just one of the ways to do it, by offering a great deal to your customers. So again, if you're offering things for free, make sure that it's not a huge hit to the cost of your business, right? Your margins will dip slightly, of course, but you want to exchange that free thing for value in your business in the future. Okay, now that we've got some context behind the emails and the offers, it's time to write. And I'm going to be showing you an example using a cleaning business. So if you don't have a sender tool, Jobber campaigns, you can use that if you use Jobber. One person asked, how do I know if I do or do not? If you don't know if you have an email sender tool, you probably do not have an email sender tool. So if you don't have a tool to send emails with and you guys are using Jobber, definitely use Jobber campaigns. I'll show you where to access that. MailChimp is another one. HubSpot is another one. Klaviyo is another one. There's so many of them out there. But if you're already using Jobber, Jobber is great because you've already got your contacts in the CRM. It's literally just a process of setting up and writing and sending the email. If you have Jobber and you want to use a different one, what you'll have to do is like download all of your contacts in a CSV, clean the data, and then upload it into the external sender tool like MailChimp, for example. It's very time consuming. I would just recommend using Jobber. But I'm going to show you how to set up a campaign in Jobber. And I noticed a lot of chats going into the chat. Maybe you guys have some questions here, but we're going to be doing a Q&A at the very end. So make sure, I love to see the engagement. Make sure that you're saving these questions for the end as well. Here's how to set it up in Jobber. So when you're in Jobber, you're going to go to the left-hand tab and you'll see marketing on the left-hand side there, kind of halfway down the middle. Click on that and then go to email campaigns. And then you're going to click on new campaign in the top right corner. Now there's a few different options it gives you, and you guys will have the recording after this. So I'm going to run through this, but just know if you're taking notes, you'll get the slides after this, you'll get the recording so you can run through this back, because I know I might be going a little bit fast here, but there's a few options that it gives you. You can start from scratch, special offer, re-engage past clients. These are super handy for you guys to be able to set up an email campaign quickly for different goals that you have with that email campaign, right? If you're existing or upselling existing clients, you could just click on upsell existing clients. In this demonstration, we're going to click start from scratch because I want to show you guys the why or the context behind what we're doing so you understand it deeper than just the surface level. So you're going to select a client segment once you click on the type of email template that you're using. You can see here all clients, clients with upcoming visits, or past clients. There's three different options for you. What I would suggest if you're starting from scratch is, and for this demonstration, past clients. So you can select when the last job was completed, who you're sending to. So for example, with this example, we're going to be upselling or offering a free car detail with a house clean. So we're going to say more than 3 months ago when the last job was completed. The further out you go, like 6 months, 12 months, the less people are going to be in your email campaign. And sometimes that's a good thing. That's what you want. And you can see on the bottom here, 500, 580 clients, that number will change the further out you go. So depending on your business, your service, and what you're offering, you need to figure out for yourself what this time frame is going to be. Who do you want to email and when was their last job complete? If you're offering a completely new service, you're like, hey, we're doing HVAC, but we're just doing installations. We should also be doing repairs on clients' existing systems. Then you might want to send an email out to that first segment, all clients, because if that's the case in this example, then they probably have not gotten a repair from you before. All right, moving on here. This is what it's going to look like when you click next after you've gotten this segment right. So you've got campaign content. There's a subject line, logo, heading, header image, message body. A lot of people who get to this step, they're like, what the heck do I do? What do I even write? I'm going to go through each of these and show you what they mean and show you what you should be writing in here. So first of all, you've got the heading, the logo, and the header image. For this demonstration, we're going to turn all of these off. So no logo, no heading, and no header image. This can work in some cases with some nuance. And typically for a header image, you want to have some sort of graphic there, a custom design graphic that promotes the deal in a meaningful way. And that's a little bit out of the scope of this presentation. And in a lot of cases, emails that come in as plain text and the email campaigns we've done for ourselves and for our clients are just plain text emails, nothing else in them, not flashy, no logo, no heading, no image, and they perform well. And the reason for that is because it looks like you're just getting an email from a friend. It doesn't look like an email marketing campaign. And that's typically more effective because people are more likely to open that email and actually read it. So moving on from here, below you've got the message body, and then you've got the button, which is the call to action, which I'm going to get into in a sec here. But a really important thing for you guys to note here is the insert variable function. So this is a button where once you click that button, it'll pull up a list of variables for you, which you want to be using the client first name. Because what that does is when you send out the email, let's say that my email gets sent out to 500 different people and Rachel is one of them. And when it hits Rachel's inbox, instead of saying, hey, and then nothing else, it says, hey, Rachel. So it identifies that person's first name and it puts their first name in the email. So it's much more personalized. So you want to be making use of the insert variable function. Button on the bottom. So this links to, like, it can be an external link. It can be your jobber form. I usually just recommend doing your jobber form. If you're not using Jobber for email campaigns, I would just recommend having no links or no buttons in your email. It's better to do that than just to respond. Or if you're going to have a link, make it linked to Jobber just in a text link. All right. Now that you've seen kind of the setup and what it looks like or what it should look like if you're sending out your first email campaign or if you're testing this out, this is the formula. 1, you're going to have an attention-grabbing subject line. I noticed a little bit earlier on, someone mentioned subject lines in the chat. You want to have an attention-grabbing subject line, and that might not be what you think it is. And so you'll see that in a sec. Second, a personalized first line so that it's personalized to that person. 3, context for why you're doing the offer. 4, the offer itself. And then 5, a call to action. So what does that actually look like? Okay, let's start from the top down. Subject line, new car, who dis, right? It doesn't have to be serious. It could be funny. It could be completely random, but the subject is still on what we're talking about in the email, right? Like new car detailing. And it's a little bit, I don't want to say this is funny. I'm not the funniest guy out there, but it's something that they wouldn't expect to see on an email marketing campaign. What someone would expect to see on an email marketing campaign from a customer's perspective is like, get a free car detailing or like free car detailing now, right? When someone sees text or copy on an email campaign or even on a website, on an ad that looks like a typical version of that thing, looks like a typical subject line from an email campaign, people instantly, whether they're doing it consciously or subconsciously, they get turned off by it, right? Because it's sales, it's marketing. But if you can capture people's attention with something that is not typical, then you will have a much higher open rate on your email campaigns and therefore a much higher likelihood that they're going to book the job with you or at least read the email, which is what we want people to do. So subject line, personalized first line. So you can see there the dotted line under Natasha, that is the variable. So this email is getting sent to someone named Natasha. So you go, hey, Natasha, this is the context part here. Okay, so let's dive into this. Even though the hustle and bustle of the holidays is over, it seems like people are busier now than over the holidays. That's why, for our customers only, we wanted to give a special offer to help out. So this context for you is going to look different. And again, don't apply the exact same email text for your email. If you're in the cleaning business, you can use this. If you want, you can just copy and paste this. You want to use the formula behind this rather than copying this word for word. So even though the hustle and bustle of the holidays is over, it seems like people are busier now more than over the holidays. That's why for our customers only, we wanted to give a special offer to help out. So what you can do is have that context be 2 lines. So like 1 intro line, 2, a sentence starting with, excuse me, that's why, right? So that's why kind of signals that you're giving a reason for something. And giving a reason for your offer, like if we didn't have this context line in the email, it'd just be, hey, Natasha, for the next 2 weeks only, when you get a house clean with us, blah, 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 blah. And people are going to be less receptive of that. People get more emotionally invested when you give them context or a reason for why you're doing something. So for the next 2 weeks only, when you get a house clean with us, we'll give you a free car detailing on the house, pun intended. So this is the offer. You want to make it short. You want to make it simple and straight to the point. I'll get into that in a little bit. If that sounds like you, click below to get booked in or reply to this email with any questions. So this is the call to action. The call to action, again, it should be simple. It should be tactical. If that sounds like you, that's how I love kind of ending off the email. If that sounds like you, that's a good way to start that sentence. Click below to get booked in or reply to this email with any questions. So there's kind of 2 calls to actions there, getting booked in or replying to the email with any questions, because when it comes to offering a free thing, there's always going to be stipulations. One person mentioned in the comment or in the chat section a little bit earlier that they've gotten burned a lot by these free buy one, get one free deals. And there's a reason that people get burned by these deals. And I'm going to show you how you're not going to burn your customers through this deal and how that works. Finally, the call to action. So get my free car detailing. You can change that to get my free XYZ, get my free HVAC maintenance, etc. Whatever your offer is. So this is straight to the point. It's an enticing offer and it's being offered to the right people, just like we talked about before. This email isn't supposed to do all the selling. It's just supposed to get people interested. Now, this is where a lot of people fail when it comes to marketing, or I shouldn't say fail, but they don't get a lot of results with marketing and they get frustrated because they try to do all of the selling, whether that's on their website, their social media, email marketing, ads. They try to sell the whole thing on that platform. We just want to get people interested. We're just telling them, hey, this is the thing that we're offering. And you'll probably need stipulations with your offer, like the free car detailing. And this is what I'm talking about. This is where people get burned when it comes to these type of deals. So for example, if they have 3 cars, right? The first car detail is free. Extra car details are 50% off or full price. So there's going to be so many different clients that you have that are in different situations that the offer may apply to and the offer may not apply to. For example, you might have someone who just got a house cleaning done by a different company 2 weeks ago. They don't need a house cleaning, but they might need a car detailing. And so what you can do in that case is figure out a win-win solution, right? So again, these stipulations don't need to be spelled out in your email. You just need to get them interested so you can do the selling on the phone. And if someone wants to take advantage of your offer but doesn't meet these requirements, you don't turn them away. You figure out a win-win scenario. You figure out a scenario in which both of you win. And again, we're not trying to burn our customers. We're trying to figure out a solution which they feel like they're getting a deal. And we know that we're growing our business because we're depositing goodwill with our customers. They're getting a deal and we're getting something in exchange. It could be referrals. It could be reviews. It could be anything, right? It could be jobs booked in the future. So you now have the formula. How do you get more emails to send you? And this is the part where we're talking about how to grow your email list. So there's three kind of ways that I boiled it down to. There's probably like 5,000 ways to get more emails, but we've only got like 10 more minutes here before we do a Q&A. So I boiled it down to three here. One, your phone contacts. So search for your phone, email calls for lost leads or old contacts, right? New leads. So every time you get a lead in your business, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, whether it's a job or form request, right? That's a new lead. Your customers, so you can get your customers to send you more of a customers in the form of referrals. So your phone contacts, right? If you're under this works typically well if you're under 100 contacts in your CRM. Collect every single contact that you have or know that has expressed some level of interest in your services before. When I first started my business, all I was doing was calling phone contacts. That's all I was doing. And if you have just started your business and maybe you have like 5 clients, or maybe you have 0 clients, or maybe you have 50 clients, you can go through your phone contact list and you would be surprised at how many old text messages, old emails you have with past prospects. Past prospects. I can't speak today. Past prospects or past leads that you could be emailing or putting into your email sequence. This is time consuming again, but it works every single time if you need new emails. Now, new leads. Every time you get a new lead into your CRM, they have the potential to be put in your next email campaign. Pretty self-explanatory. And if you want to get more email leads quick, here is a hack that works for me that we've been implementing recently into our businesses. And it's called the free lead magnet. Here's how it works. So a lead magnet is giving something of value away for free that they can get instantly in exchange for their contact info. So this could be like an ebook online. They're typically digital, okay? An ebook online, a guide, a free tool, a calculator, a free price calculator in home service works really well. And we've been testing this across most of our client base over the past couple of weeks because everyone wants a free quote. Like if you were to go on your website right now and look at the call to action or look at why people are contacting you, what are they doing? They're probably looking for a free quote. And so the price calculator works really well because of that. And if you want a tool that's really easy to set up and it's, they got a free trial on it, use priceguide.ai. If you guys want to either take a screenshot of that, write that down, definitely check priceguide.ai out because it's a tool that you can use to set up a free calculator for people on your website so that when they go to it, they will have a much higher likelihood of filling out that price calculator and sending you their email. And finally, your customers, right? Just because we're emailing your customers, that does not mean they can't bring us more emails in the form of referrals. You should be asking each of your customers for referrals on a consistent basis. And this shouldn't be annoying, right? Again, you want to deposit so much goodwill with your customers that when you go to them and ask for something, you don't feel bad about it, right? You don't feel annoying. And if you do feel annoying, if you feel like going to your customers and asking for referrals or asking for a review is a bad thing, or it's annoying them, then take a look at your business and take a look at the services that you're providing to your customers and how satisfied they are with your services, because there may be something wrong with that. 2, it should be after a touch point with your customers. So ideally, it should be done after a job is complete, after you've talked to them on the phone, after they sign the invoice, right? A large touch point with your customers, I should say a significant touch point with your customers. 3, again, done with goodwill built up. And 4, it should be less of an ask and more of a reminder. People think that asking consistently or asking several times for a referral is annoying. And in some cases, if you're doing it too frequently, it can be. However, people have busy lives. Like, I hate to break it to you, but your business is not the center of the universe. And people get busy with school. They get busy with their kids. They get busy with laundry, groceries, etc. You ask them for a review, and 5 minutes later, they're off doing something else. And so you want to remind them on a consistent basis, hey, if you had a good experience with our business and our services, this is how you can give us a shout out, right? It's more educating them on how to do it. All right. So I think it's time for us to do a little Q&A. I've seen the chat popping off this whole session, so I'll invite Maggie back on here and we can do a Q&A.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Stephen. That was a great presentation. We have some sort of like themes that I'm seeing. One of the big themes is around like how to get these emails. So I'm not going to pull up a specific question because there's probably 6 or 7
Sure.
different versions of it, but how can people get emails? And they're asking also about like buying lists and knowing that they're legitimate. So jump on
Yeah,
that.
good question. So when it comes to getting emails, again, like the three main sources are going to be new customers, like people in your contacts, new leads that come in, your past customers, right? Those are the main sources that you're going to get emails from. Now, when it comes to buying email list, you can absolutely do that. And when I started email marketing with like cold email, um, that's how I was doing it, was just buying email lists from different platforms online. And in most cases, they're legitimate. The caveat with this is that if you're buying email lists, you are now entering cold email territory. You're not doing warm email marketing anymore. This is cold email. And so you could do that and upload it into your sender tool or into Jobber. However, when you email these people, they don't know about you. And unless you have a sophisticated cold email system where you've got 10, 20, 30 different domains that you're sending from, it's a 5-step email sequence, you've warmed up these domains, like the backend system required to actually just run a cold email campaign is complicated. So unless you have that already set up so that your email that you're sending from doesn't get flagged as spam, then I would recommend not buying email list to send emails to. And if you are going to do that, have either a cold email specialist on your team or a contractor who could do that for you.
Yeah, we don't want you going out there and like wasting money sending a bunch of emails,
Yeah,
to people who don't even know who you are. So I love that. I'm going to keep moving along because we only have a few minutes, and I know there's
do
some
it.
awesome questions in here. Before
Yeah.
I do, I just want to call out that at some point while we're doing the Q&A, a survey will come up to get your feedback on today. We actually use this information monthly when we're working on these events to try and improve them and decide on speakers. So please fill that out. It really does benefit us, which ultimately benefits you and makes sure that these events are sort of what you're looking for. So just wanted to call that out while we burn through a couple more. Okay, there's a couple questions around like timing, frequency, what time of day, all that kind of like how many emails in a drip. Can you speak a little bit to the frequency, timing, drip?
Yeah. Is it mainly like, are the questions mainly about how often to send the emails, or like how often to follow up, or
So there's sort of two categories here. One is like what time of day, what day of the week, what time of day
gotcha.
they're asking. And then the other one is like, yeah, how many times should I be sending an email? So is it monthly? Is it weekly? Yeah, those sort of two questions.
Yeah. Yeah. So in terms of time of day, I mean, you can look up online, the best time of day to send an email. I think it's changed over the years. I think like right now it's on Fridays. Last year it used to be Tuesday. So it'll change over time. And like as a rule of thumb, we typically like to send out emails on like a Monday or a Friday, because typically people are on their phones at that time, or they're at their desk. Like Mondays, they're definitely at their desk. Fridays, they're either signing off early and going on their phones. So Mondays and Fridays, we've seen work. But if you're going to send out an email, like for example, today it's Wednesday. If you want to send out an email campaign today, don't let the time of day or the day of the week stop you. Like do it today. In terms of drip campaigns or like follow-ups to those campaigns, you can absolutely do like a 2 or 3 step email campaign. I don't think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Jobber has the ability for you to set up like an email sequence where it's like day one, they send out this email and then wait 3 days, then send out this email.
I
Does
believe
it?
that's true right now, as of
Okay.
like this moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you can do is manually, after you send this email campaign, let's say that you're running this offer that you've created for the next 2 weeks. Send out the email campaign today. Then at the end of the week, send out another email campaign letting people know that, hey, we've gotten a lot of uh, reception from this. A lot of people are taking us up on this deal, so we're actually going to extend it for another week. Or and then at the end of that 2 week period or 3 week period, maybe a couple days before it ends, send out a final email letting them know that, hey, we're ending this in a couple days, and take us up on the offer if you're interested.
I love that. Also, just shout out to the chat. I'm like watching these great conversations and sort of like each other, everybody giving each other advice and talking about how they do it. So I just want to shout you guys out. Like, you're all so sweet and kind and supportive and just like, yeah, especially James. James, you've been like giving advice
James is
and
OG. Yeah.
yeah, this is awesome. So just like love to see the community as we continue. We've got time for a couple more. This one I thought was interesting and maybe not applicable to everyone, but I think is worth having a conversation with. This person saying the owner of the company is not interested in promotions or discounts or anything like that. So,
Mm.
if I could see this from a couple perspectives. One, you're like, we charge the same amount. Like, you're sort of committed to that. I can also see people being like, our margins are like so razor thin right now. We can't give like a discount. In those situations, what are other options for people to do to give some type of incentive or to give something, that will get people's attention?
Tell them to call me. I'll have a conversation. No, I'm just kidding. No, there's a lot of other options. Yeah, I know. Like in some cases, margins might be super thin, and it might be a time in your business that you're not willing to give up a service for free. In that case, it's time to start thinking about in your business, what else can we be offering at full price that we're not currently offering for our clients, right? We're in home services. And so there are so many of these little upsells or supplemental services that you could be offering that you might not already be offering that you can send to your entire customer base. Like, for example, when I started this business, I was doing website design. And that was difficult for me because it was, you design someone's website and then they don't need you for another 5 or 10 years to design a new one, right? And so offering things like SEO, offering like little one-off projects, offering conversion rate optimization. Like, there's so many other upsells or supplemental services that you could be offering. So start thinking about what those could be that your customers can get value from. Because again, if you think about the home service industry and how many different types of businesses there are, cleaning, HVAC, plumbing, electricians, right? There's so many of these other services that you can offer that are similar to yours, or you might already know how to do, but your customers don't know you do it. Additionally, partnering up with other companies in your area, other subcontractors, like if you're an HVAC, partner up with an electrician, right? And then you can offer his services for a discount or like promote their services, and then you get referrals from that.
I love that. Okay, last question. But I want to remind everyone, in case you weren't here right off the hop at the start, Stephen is doing Ask an Expert in our forum, the home service community. So if I didn't get to your question, I'm trying to sort of like group some together that people are asking. If we didn't get to your question, head over to the forum and drop your questions in there and he will totally answer them. So don't stress too much if I missed your question. So this last one is about growing your email list without paying for one. So you sort of talked about this already, but maybe rapid fire, remind everyone, we said, you probably don't want to be buying cold emails. So how do you do it for free? How do you do it based on people who already know you?
Okay, gotcha. So email marketing and email campaigns in general, I always think about or relate to like a savings account. It's building up emails over time to eventually cash out on. And a lot of the clients that we work with and businesses that I've talked to, they might have 2,000, 5,000 emails that they just built up over time, but just never sent an email campaign to. And so it is a long-term investment. Like, these are the tactics that I gave at the end, like going through your phone contacts, going through your old text messages, like those are manual ways to do it. Your lead generation, getting more leads on a consistent basis. And that's a whole other conversation. But those are short-term tactics. Ultimately, you want to have a long-term perspective for email marketing, where it's like, I might have 500 emails now, but next year I want to have 1,000. The year after that, I want to have 1,500. And 10 years, I want to have 100,000 emails. So thinking of it long-term is a little bit more helpful to the growth of email marketing and its effectiveness in your business really over time. I want to say thanks everyone for coming. Thank you. Big shout out to Jobber for putting this on. You guys all took time out of your business today to come learn about email marketing, how to grow your business, how to get more leads.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Stephen, and have an amazing day. And I can't wait to hear your results on emails. We'll see you soon. Bye.